Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to rise in second reading debate on Bill 65, an act respecting the Family Income Security Act. And Mr. Speaker, I want to start by pointing out once again the title of this bill is a misnomer. Family Income Security Act. It's quite cruel, really, because the title promises income security for families, but provides incomes at levels that are impossible to live on, well below the market basket measure reflecting the costs of essential goods and services that would represent a very modest, rudimentary, basic standard of living. But that's not what the 33,000 social assistance recipients in New Brunswick receive. Not at all. And on top of that, there's been a host of clawbacks and rules that make living on income assistance additionally challenging. Now, it's true that Bill 62 reflects an incremental improvement. It puts it follows through on the minister's commitment to eliminate the clawback of family support payments, child support payments, I should say, to single parents, something that our caucus has been pressing for years, and certainly I have been since being first elected. And so this makes the necessary legislative changes to make that happen. But of course, it's not the only clawback, Mr. Speaker. There are clawbacks for disability pensions, there are clawbacks on survivor benefits. Basically, any money you see that comes in that's not within the rules gets clawed back. Even, essentially, people donating groceries to you on a regular basis would claw back some of your social assistance. So it's quite a cruel approach, Mr. Speaker. It doesn't really reflect a safety net at all, a social safety net. It really is more like a hard floor that you hit and represents rock bottom. The thing is that income assistance levels remain too low. That at its core is the problem. And if you look at the current Schedule A, Mr. Speaker, on the website, social development website, it becomes very quickly clear that this is the case to anyone who looks at it. If you're a single person, you see $705 a month, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, $571 a month, I should say. So $571 a month, Mr. Speaker, while the Common Front for Social Justice finds that to basically have a basic living, to meet your basic costs and needs in the Moncton area, you would need $1,300 a month, not $571. If we look at a family of four with two children, Mr. Speaker, they see $1,000 a month, and the Human Development Council in St. John suggests that that to just get by, that family would need $5,972 a month. So it's hard to imagine how people, well, they don't get by, but the struggles that people must go through, Mr. Speaker. If you've got two persons, with one of them being a youth or a child, so a single parent family, they see $896 a month. Mr. Speaker, that represents an annual income of $10,752 for a single parent and their child. And Mr. Speaker, we're seeing in the data that the reduction in the number of single parents and children and their children living in poverty that was the trend in previous years has reversed. And we're starting to see those numbers go up again, Mr. Speaker. So something clearly has to be done. If you're disabled, Mr. Speaker, if you're disabled and you successfully run the gamut of the medical Advisory Board that determines whether or not you're disabled enough to get the extended benefits program under social assistance. And to be disabled enough, Mr. Speaker, you have to not be able to care for yourself. So there's lots of people with disabilities that prevent them from working, both physical or mental, or sometimes a combination of both, or intellectual, and Mr. Speaker, they receive less than that. They receive less than what they would get if the Medical Advisory Board had determined that they met their disabilities criteria. Again, quite cruel, Mr. Speaker, which is why myself and my caucus have been pressing for some years now that the system be overhauled in the sense that its underlying philosophy needs to be replaced, and we need to move towards a system of annual basic livable income. So basic livable income, Mr. Speaker, would ensure people could meet their basic needs. And we've proposed that government begin to get their sort of toes wet in this basic livable income with those who are disabled, and not just those, Mr. Speaker, who meet the criteria of the Medical Advisory Board as disabled, but those who actually are disabled, that have disabilities that prevents them from working, Mr. Speaker, whether it's a mental, intellectual, or physical disability. You know, with the Medical Advisory Board, there's not even an appeal process. If the Medical Advisory Board says, sorry, you don't have a level of disability that meets the test to receive a little bit extra, Mr. Speaker, a little bit extra, and that means going from what a little bit extra would take you to $8,460 a year as a single disabled person. But if you're disabled and you don't meet that test, Mr. Speaker, then you receive $6,852 a year. Impossible to live on. So this needs to change, and this is really why, Mr. Speaker, I had tabled a bill to significantly amend the Family Income Security Act back on December the 17th, 2019, almost 2 years ago now, Bill 31, to try and address a number of these things, at least to the extent that a private member's bill can. And one of the things I included, Mr. Speaker, was like in other social development legislation, I included some objectives that would be added into the legislation. Some objectives that would therefore help interpret the Act in a bit of a different way, Mr. Speaker, and also to guide overhaul and transformation of unfair policies that exist currently now in the Department of Social Development, like the household income policy, Mr. Speaker, which Kate and Layden has done so much work to bring public attention to in terms of the injustice of the household income policy. So the objectives that the bill I presented almost 2 years ago to this House for the Family Income Security Act were A, to promote and provide income security for New Brunswickers. Good objective, since that's what it's called. B, to combat poverty in the province. And C, to ensure the applicants and recipients of income assistance are treated with dignity and respect. So that would create the lens, Mr. Speaker, through which this legislation would be interpreted and policies adopted by the government, by the Department of Social Development, would have to respect, really. So those policies, as I said, are terrible. For example, seniors, not quite seniors, people who are heading in that direction when they hit age 60 and they're on income assistance are forced to collect their federal pension so they can be taken off of the social assistance rolls that New Brunswick pays for. And that means that they're going to have a reduced pension in the future. So I hope someone has the means to take that one to court someday soon, Mr. Speaker, because really, how can government, through the Department of Social Development, force someone to take their pension early at age 60 simply because government wants to get them off their rolls so they don't have to cover their social assistance anymore and transfer them to the federal level early, but impacting seriously the amount of pension that person can receive in the future when they take it early. So incredibly unjust, and perhaps a court will find it illegal. And as I said, the household income policy is another one that's got to go. The clawbacks of survivor benefits and disability pensions, all of these things are a terrible blow to people having to live on social assistance. The meager amount of money that's provided makes it that much more difficult, Mr. Speaker. So we'll have plenty of questions at committee on this bill, both in terms of what it includes and also, Mr. Speaker, why the decision was taken to miss this opportunity to correct some of the injustices, the terrible injustices that exist within the Family Income Security Act and the policy that it guides. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The member for